Hello, everybody. Welcome to In the Doll World. I am your host, Georgette Taylor, and as always, I'm so excited that you're joining me today. I have such a delightful guest today. We've been trying to get together for a minute, but I'm glad that she finally made it to the show. Her name is Evelyn Smith, also known as Evalina. She is the owner of Evergreen Art Dolls, and she is an amazing silicone doll artist. So I want to welcome you, Evelina, to In the Doll World.
Hello, and thanks for having me. I'm so glad that I can finally finally talk with you.
No problem. It's understandable. Everybody's schedule, you have to work for everybody's schedule. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. So I'm excited for you to just share a little bit about yourself and how you got started in your doll journey.
Okay. So it started in, I believe, 2017. It feels like it's been like such a long time ago now. But yeah, I actually was always a doll artist and collector since
Mhm.
I was very young, but didn't realize it until I became an adult. But yeah, it all started when I was actually in school. But I guess a little bit about my background
Mhm.
first. So
Mhm.
I am I'm 31 years old. I just turned 31 and I
Woohoo
live
for
in Georgia.
31.
Yeah. Yeah, once I hit that 30, I was just like, "Oh, I'm getting old." But
Oh my, okay. You know what? That's a whole nother conversation, lady. Just so
yeah.
you know that. I wish for 31 again, but go ahead.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, and then so I was born in New Jersey, but I was raised in Georgia, so I'm a country girl for sure.
Okay.
And so my mom is Hispanic, she's from Paraguay, South America, and my dad is from Georgia. So yeah, so I just started out like I've always loved art. I've always loved dolls and toys, like ever since I was little. That was the main thing that I played with. Besides being like outside and stuff, I was like
Mm-hmm.
whenever I was inside playing, it was like with my dolls, or I was always drawing stuff and crafting, and that was my whole little vibe. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was in the art club, like, when I was in school and stuff like that. So I just always like art. I did dancing too. So very just like artsy, like in
Mm-hmm.
everything that I would do. And said I always collected and had dolls when I was little and growing up. And then
Okay.
so yeah, I grew up, as I said, not really, but I was like, and sold a majority of my dolls and everything at
Hmm.
yard sales and things like that. But then I just got back into it.
How did you get into the medium that you're in?
I was pretty good at science. I had this like mindset that I couldn't really make money doing art at a very young age. Like I knew that it wasn't something that I professionally would, or that's what I thought, that I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was good at science and things like that. So I just started pursuing my other passion, which is animals. So I went to Georgia College and got my bachelor's in biology there at
Mm-hmm.
Georgia College and State University. And then I went to Fort Valley State University and got my master's in animal science.
Okay.
So yeah, between art and animals, those were always my like, two passions. And I was like, where's the money gonna be at? And so I went here. But
Right. Right.
um, but yeah, so I did that for a while. I was in school, I feel like for a very long time doing both of those two things. And then yeah, I graduated. While I was in school, primarily in Fort Valley, yeah, that's where it started.
Mm-hmm.
I came across I was also always into sci-fi and fantasy, as far as like books that I would read and stuff like that. I read all the time, and that was my favorite genre. So the Avatar movie came out, and I don't know if you know
The
that
first
movie with
one.
James
Yes.
Cameron. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so that came out, and then on Facebook, I saw a doll that really just took my interest. Like I said, at this point, I didn't really have any dolls. Like I wasn't an adult like doll collector. I wasn't doing anything doll
Mm-hmm.
related. But I saw that doll on Facebook and I wanted one because I was a super huge fan of the movie. And so I was like, yeah, that's like the cutest little thing. I love everything cute. So so yeah, I was like, I want one. And then I went and looked up how much they were. And I was like, okay, yeah, never mind, because they were between like $1,000, $2,000 for these
wow.
like silicone
Hmm.
baby dolls essentially. And so yeah, I changed my mind real quick about wanting one, but I said, well, maybe I could make my own because like I said, I was always pretty artsy. So I
Hmm.
made a little tiny clay one. It's a little clay miniature like avatar doll, not out of
Hmm.
silicone, it was out of clay.
Okay.
So yeah, I started making that just for me, just for my own personal like
Hmm.
little thing. And then people ended up thinking like it was really cool when I shared it on social media and they wanted one. And so I made one for somebody else. And then another person wanted one. And so it kept going and going. And so I sold a bunch of those and then got back on Facebook, found a group of how to make silicone dolls because at
Hmm.
that time, yeah, at that time it was like a pretty it's called Baby Clone was the first company that began making the
Okay.
avatar babies because in the movie you don't really see babies, so it's
Right.
kind of like yeah, that was something that they thought up, I guess, more so. And so after that a lot of other people like kind of were interested and into silicone doll making, and I found out that it is something you can do at your home. So I started selling the clay dolls to buy supplies to make,
Hmm.
the silicone dolls. And at that time, I didn't realize all the time, talent, and supplies that it takes to make them. So
Yes.
when I was looking at that price point, it was just like, whoa, that's like crazy. But then when you are actually in it, you realize, why
Why? Yeah, why the price point?
it
Yeah.
works so much. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things too when you are an artist and you create things, people always have those comments about why is your price is this because I
Yeah.
don't think they understand what really goes into all the supplies and all the time that you have to invest to create this amazing art that they want to purchase. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do understand that. So
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
creating silicone. So after you found out, this was the art or the medium that you wanted to pursue, how did you go about really learning how to craft faces and how to do that type of work?
Yeah, because I never actually like my focus when I was doing a lot of artsy stuff was drawing. Like I would
Hmm.
draw a lot. And I mean I'd craft a lot too, like different like crafting things, putting stuff together. But sculpting was something like very new to me. I never
Hmm.
really sculpted any, I mean, besides like Play-Doh, back in the day and stuff
Right.
like that. Like I think I took one thing in art class, like the kindling, or I
Right.
forget what
Hmm.
it's called, but sculpting was basically pretty new to me. So I don't know, I just picked up some clay and followed some videos like on a face, like I said, there was this Facebook group that helped me a lot, and
Okay.
a lot of great people in that group that helped you along the way and want to help you like learn to
Hmm.
how to do it. And so it always starts out with a clay sculpt first. So I just began just practicing with clay, like just sculpting and watching videos, and
Hmm.
it just stuck. So it finally, I don't do a whole lot of sculpting. Some of my because of my time, because sculpting takes a long time to
Right.
make
Hmm.
something. So so sometimes I will purchase like molds from other artists and things like
Okay.
that,
Hmm.
create as
Okay.
well. But yeah, ideally I would like love to do all of my dolls like from my own sculpt. But yeah, I had to learn that first, and that was just videos on Facebook
Hmm.
basically. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Now I know you said that you did read a lot of sci-fi when you were growing up and things like
Mhm.
that, and you were really interested in that. So is that why you have such an eclectic line of dolls that you do create? Because you have fairies and dinosaurs and aliens and
Yeah.
things like that. Like, I mean, that's cool. I think it's really
Yeah.
pretty cool to see them,
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
the ideas that you have and create. So I do
Yeah.
like the fact that they're very eclectic.
Yeah, I was always like that. That's just what I like to do. And it makes me happy that other people are also interested in like, some of those same things. But yeah, I just know in the silicone doll world, I feel like there more and more people are coming out with eclectic things and different like fantasy dolls and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But when I got into it, it was mostly like a lot of baby dolls. So human, like
Yes.
realistic, like coming
Hmm.
after like the reborn dolls and
Yeah.
things like that. And I just personally wasn't really into that type of, because like I said, I had my own things that I like,
Right.
but baby, like to me, it was kind of like that's great for people who are, into that. That's fine. And I
Hmm.
make babies too, but they have a lot of times more of a cartoonish look to them. I guess I'm more on the like toy side. A lot of other people like the realism of like they want to
Yes,
hold
the
a real
reborns.
baby,
Yes.
like they wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You went to the other side, right? That's what
Yeah,
you're
yeah, because
saying.
I also like, like when I was growing up, like Pokemon, and so just cute, like cute
Hmm.
little cartoonish kind of things. That's just like sort of my vibe.
Hmm.
So yeah.
What's the smallest size doll you created, and what is the largest size doll that you created so
Oh my
far?
goodness. The smallest one was probably an inch, like a teeny tiny
Wow.
little, like it would have like an acorn. I made these little, like I went out in the yard and got some little acorn shells and made like hats for them, but like just teeny
So
tiny, like
cute.
an inch. Yeah. Yeah, inch is probably my smallest. And then my largest. So also I do cuddle baby sometimes. So that's like where it's a silicone head on a cloth body.
Okay.
So that was probably the biggest one I've done before. And those were about like 18 inches, 17, 18 inches.
Okay.
But pure silicone, the
Silicone.
largest I
Mhm.
think I've done is about 14 inches.
Okay,
Yeah.
about
Full,
14
full
inches. Okay,
silicone.
that's a pretty good size though.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
silicone. Yeah. Did
Mhm.
you find it easy to work with? And you said that you can do it in your home. So did you find the things that you needed to create a doll from your house? Did you find that to be an easy process for you?
Yeah, so it just took time. Like once you had everything, then you're good to go for like a while and you don't need
Hmm.
a whole lot. You just need to
Okay.
order your silicone from different distributors.
Hmm.
But I'm close to Atlanta, so that's where my main
Hmm.
distributor is. So I just get
Hmm.
that shipped to me. It's just the silicone. So yeah, so the main thing I guess for me was getting all of my initial supplies. So selling those clay dolls to purchase the supplies that I needed to start silicone doll making, because
Hmm.
once you have the supplies and you're good to go. But the only, I guess, machinery that I needed was a degasser, so that removes all the air bubbles and stuff from the silicone, so that can
Hmm.
be a little bit of an expense. So
Hmm.
I needed to get that. It was my first time using anything like that. Either I don't know who exactly uses that other than like a silicone doll artist. So I had to buy one of those and
Uh-huh.
a oven to bake,
Oh,
because
okay.
yeah, to bake the clay sculptures that are turned into silicone, as well
Hmm.
as like during the like my painting process, I
Right.
put them in the oven to like cure them faster so that I can go ahead and finish them up.
Oh,
So
okay.
but yeah, so that was probably the two most expensive things, and then silicone is expensive as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have my distributor in
Hmm.
Atlanta. They just get they get that shipped to me. But once I had everything, it's kind of, once you have everything in your home, if anybody is, interested in doing
Hmm.
silicone doll art, yeah. But once you have that, then it was pretty
Then it's
easy.
pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty good to know. Thank you for sharing that. I really want to know how that process worked for you,
Mhm.
and and how well it was working for you from home. Um, and do you need do you need like a certain ventilation, for that, or you don't have to worry about that?
So, a lot of it is non-toxic. So,
Okay.
but I just still like try to keep my window open when it's like,
Mm-hmm.
nice and warm and stuff. I do try to like open my window up and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then I'm getting a new workshop soon because I'm getting
Oh,
married.
good.
Um
Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'll be getting that, and then we'll definitely like provide like more ventilation and everything, just in
Hmm.
case. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I understand that. How
Mhm.
long did it take you? I know you said you were doing clay dolls, and how long did it take you to create a silicone doll that you felt that you could sell and that you were happy with?
Didn't take me very long because when I want to do something, I kind of obsess over it. And so it's like
I
all
think
like,
that's the artist way.
yeah, yeah, it's all that's on my mind. So like anytime that I have, like that's what I'm doing. So, and people ask me that all the time. That's probably like one of the number one questions I get is how long does it take you to make one doll? And it's a hard question to answer
Hmm.
because it just really varies on a lot of things, like just how big or small I'm making it, how detailed I'm gonna
Detail.
paint it,
Hmm.
how long it takes me to make a sculpt if, it's a doll that's made from one of my sculpts. Yeah, so
Hmm.
it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to answer. So it just depends.
So
Yeah.
do you, okay, I know when you were sharing earlier about you thinking as an artist you couldn't make it. And I know you mentioned that in your bio, they're saying that you were mistakenly thought that a career in art would not be profitable
Hmm.
enough, right, for you
Hmm.
to make a living on. Um,
Hmm.
but because you found the doll community, you realize it is doable. We know it is
Yeah.
doable. I speak to a lot of artists who do make, a living out of doing what they do. But I also
Hmm.
do speak to a lot of artists, who it's still not, I don't really want to call it a side hustle because it's really not that, but they
Hmm.
don't really make enough. They still have to actually work in order to,
Yeah.
provide for their craft. So
Hmm.
where are you at in that spectrum now? Now that you are in the doll community and you do these dolls, um, do you see it becoming something that is definitely enough for you to create a profitability for you to live off of, or it's still something that you're saying, well, yeah, I still need to work a little bit longer before this to happen for
Yeah.
myself?
Oh no, for sure. Cause I just wish I had known that like doll making would have came into my life earlier because I probably wouldn't have done as much school as I did. But
Go to school, kids.
yeah, it's always still good to have. Definitely it's good to have.
Definitely is still good to have, right? But I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying. Yeah, I
it's
totally get that.
definitely yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just because, I really do love it so much. And like I just had that misconception growing up that you couldn't,
Hmm.
you can't make money from art. But now I actually realize that I can because after I graduated, of course, you don't hop right into a job. So
Hmm.
I was doing doll making full time for a little while. And that's
Hmm.
when I realized after I graduated that yeah, this could have been, a thing. And so, yeah, it's very profitable for me right now. I'm lucky that, other people, like I said, like what I like and everything and are into what I'm into because I
Hmm.
make what I personally like. Like these are
Right.
things that, like I put out whatever, like if I'm in the mood to make an elf today, that's what I'm going to make. And, and luckily other people, enjoy
Hmm.
that. And so,
Yes. Yeah, you kind of
but
found your community, or they found you, in a
yeah, and I
way.
never
So,
knew that a dog community existed. Like, I just never knew, like, an adult, like, dog
hmm
community. Like, I just did not know that that was a thing. And yeah, that just it's mind blowing to see, like, how big it is and how many people are interested in dolls
and
and
dolls, and I think the
yeah.
vastness of the types of dolls to me sometimes is
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
always so interesting for me, even in being
Mhm.
in this field. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to do the show was because I
Mhm.
wanted other people who were not like you were not in the dog community to find the people who are in the dog community, to see that it
Yeah.
does exist, how huge it is, and
Yeah.
how many areas of that community you can be involved in,
Mhm.
or like start a career in, or even
Oh,
create a
yeah.
new hobby in. I think it's just
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fascinating,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
yeah, and
And
then
now I'm in vet medicine right now.
hmm
That's what, then I did get a job afterwards and then,
hmm
got into that. And it's like our hospital doesn't work on appointments. So it's kind of just whatever comes in and I could
hmm
be there, we're supposed to close at 6, but I could be there until like 8 that night. And it's just
right.
like, it can be a little stressful and everything. And then, just being able to work from home and still do something you love because I do love
Hmm.
animals still, so I love helping them out. But just, you kind of have to balance and pick and choose and everything. And that's
Yeah.
why I know I told you before that I was going part-time at the vet hospital now to focus more on my doll making. And I did do it full time for a little bit and it
Hmm.
was it was a good thing for me.
Oh,
So
that's great. I'm glad that turned out to be a really good thing for you, and that you can see
mhm.
the possibilities of that, happening again for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is when we talk about artists, they have that, that saying, starving artist, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, and I
Hmm.
think that sticks with people. So I think
Yeah.
it doesn't really, yes, there are people who are, who really need to get paid doing what they
Yeah.
do, but
Yeah.
it's not a space that where you cannot become successful at, or you cannot,
Exactly.
have enough to live off of. I mean, it's I think it's in anything, you know. I mean, you can
Yeah.
still have a good job and still not make enough money to live off
Yeah.
of. I mean,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you
No, that's
know,
true. That's very true too.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And then
so
with today's like economy and culture, how it is, a lot of people are, I guess back in the day before like in the internet and stuff, but now with the internet and stuff too, it's just so much easier to promote yourself and
yes,
your
and
art more.
easier to find those communities to help to promote
Yeah.
you within
Yeah.
that, you know, within that space, you know. So, so I know you have a really eclectic line of what you create. So, are there any types of dolls that you like creating the most? You know, like do you have a really like you know, are you excited more when you create fairies or when you
Yeah.
create aliens? What would that be
Things
for
with
you?
ears. I don't
Things.
know. Like big ears. I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
cute.
it would definitely probably be like the elves and the
Hmm.
of course like my first like thing that got me into this whole thing is Avatar, like I say. So
Hmm.
definitely, or they're called Navi if I'm gonna be my
Right.
nerdy self and go into that. But yeah, because I was correcting people for a long time and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with Avatar dolls because that's what
That's what
people
everybody,
like.
yes, that's what
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
can relate to, I guess,
Yeah,
you
because
know.
so many people, like, even though it was one of like the most highest grossing like movies like ever, there's
Hmm.
still so many people I know who've never seen it, and so
Yeah.
they don't know what I'm talking about.
Look at the time frame, right? I mean, it's been a
Yeah,
long time before the first one to the second one, and
yeah,
there's some people who probably were just like babies when the first one came out.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I totally understand that,
yeah.
and
So
I
I
can relate.
definitely love it.
I have two nerdy sons, so it's all good. I
Oh,
understand
okay.
that.
Yeah, yeah, but that's probably my favorite thing. But of course, spots and dots get old after a while because there's lots of spots and dots to paint. So I took a break for a little while making those and went on to like elves. Yeah.
So what did you find? What have you found to be your biggest challenge that you run into in being a doll artist?
Time for
Mm,
sure. Like
wow.
there's not enough time in a day. Like I feel like there's so many things in my head that I want to just like bring to life, as I say,
Hmm.
because in my art, and I just don't have like the time that I want to.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wish 24 hours wasn't a thing. Like it was just like
Right.
infinite
And you could
time in a day.
just create forever. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
don't have to
yeah,
even stop, only if you want to, you know? So
yeah, yeah.
I get that. So do you see yourself going to any other medium besides a silicone? And if you
Yes,
did, what would that be for you?
yes, definitely. Any and everything. Like since I've gotten
Any and everything.
yeah, since I've gotten into silicone doll making and been exposed to just the doll community, because like you said, there's different like
Hmm.
subcategory, different kinds of dolls, cloth dolls,
Hmm.
the resin dolls, BJDs, like there's
Right.
so many different kinds of dolls. And I just didn't know that before. Like I was really into like Barbies and trolls when I was little. And then, as an adult collector, silicone dolls, like I said, that's like a newer thing. But then I
Hmm.
found out about just from being on social media, like the cloth dolls and BJDs. I love those like now,
Hmm.
and I collect those. And I want to really get into that. Like that's something that
Oh,
I want to
okay.
do sooner rather than later is
Wow.
resin dolls. So
Hmm.
BJDs, I just like their posability, and I just
Hmm.
also in the future I want to possibly illustrate and write my own like children's books. So I feel like those dolls like kind of give
Yeah.
me like inspiration for pose, because you can pose them a different
Yes.
ways and then probably
Hmm.
be able to draw them out better and things
Hmm.
like that. So yeah, so that's BJD,
Nice.
definitely something I want to get into. But I've always wanted to learn to sew and crochet and the textile, more like textile art and
Hmm.
stuff. I've always wanted to do that, but I've never learned like how to sew or anything. So it's
Right.
something I have to learn first and then be able to,
Hmm.
do that.
Be able to do. So if you didn't do animal science, you didn't go to school for that. What else would you have gone to school for? Would it have been in the
Um,
arts? Do you know if it would have been in that area?
Realistic, if it would be art, I just feel like no, just from my upbringing and like I said, people telling me that wasn't a,
Hmm.
you don't make money from that. I realistically, with my experience, I would never have gone to school for art. I really don't know what it would have been. There's so many like different jobs in like animal related science. Like the
Mm.
first thing that was like vet, but then I
Right.
work in vet medicine, but I'm a surgical tech, not a
Okay.
veterinarian, because I didn't
Hmm.
want to go to even more school for
Right.
that. But yeah, and all the responsibility that comes with that and stuff, I was like, yeah, no, I'll just pass. But there's so many other different like avenues and like animal
Hmm.
science, and just I just wanted to help animals out,
Yeah.
people about animals, like more so zoo curator was on my list of like possible things too, like,
Okay, nice.
things like that. So
So what has been your biggest triumph, right? Or what brings you the most joy about creating the dolls that you create and being in the doll community?
like I said, like throughout this interview, just the fact that people like what I do, like that's the most, that just like keeps me going, that everybody is like waiting for, what I'm gonna put out, or like a specific like mold that people are really into. They just, these messages flooding in like, oh, are you gonna make some more of this? And I want this and this color. And
Hmm.
that's why I don't do custom orders though,
I was
because
just going to ask you that, but go ahead, explain
yeah,
that. Do you do custom
no.
orders? You do not.
I do not do custom orders, because I would just drive myself crazy like trying to do that. And then
Right.
I want to please people too. So I don't want them to, not like what their doll ended up looking like, because
Right.
they're all handmade, so they're not
Hmm.
gonna look exactly like the one I did last week, so I don't want to put that pressure and stress on myself. But
Hmm.
I do have certain clients that really do not care. Like I've known them, they've purchased like mini dolls from me. And,
Hmm.
let's say I have planned on doing like a gecko like next week or something. And I kind of let them know that. And they're like, oh, well, could you just throw in, a pink one, or,
Right.
like
Right.
that. And I'll just keep that
Hmm.
in my mind and maybe do that sometimes. But,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Mhm.
cool though. You have those people who really, like you said, just appreciate you what you put out, as
Yeah.
opposed to you said customization is very customized per client,
Hmm.
and I know you don't want to disappoint them by
Yeah.
what you present. So I understand, but again, you still have to just create the dolls that what you want to create. Just like you said
Yeah.
earlier, that you go out there, you create these dolls that you want to see, and that
Yeah.
brings you joy. And then everybody else, kind of falls in line as far as they like what you do, and so that's very helpful.
Yeah, it keeps it fun for me. I
Hmm.
always like, just being able to do what you love, and then having people love that also. It's just so rewarding. Like I feel
Hmm.
like that's what like a lot of different artists, like that people enjoy what you do. So
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And I really do. I love your dolls. I think they're so whimsical and so creative,
yeah.
and yeah, they're so cute. When I first saw
Yeah,
them, I was
cute is
like,
like my like top.
when I first saw them, I was like, they are so cute. Like I just,
Yeah.
I had to really, and I looked at all of the types of dolls that you did, and so I thought that was really interesting. You had such an eclectic line. You didn't just stick with one thing, and it's fine if that's something that another artist chooses. There are
Yeah.
people who just love to do fairies, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. But I got to
And I
see a
have my
lot of
kids.
your different work. So.
Yeah, I have my kicks like that too. Like sometimes I'll just be like on a fairy thing. Like I noticed that, that's just something that's just going and people want more. And I'm like,
Yes.
until I get tired of it, I'll make fairies for y'all. But then, yeah.
And I got to switch it up. Then I got to
Yeah.
switch it up. Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time and being in the doll world and sharing your doll journey with us, and what you do with your amazing creativity and the things that you showcase. So, can you just share with everybody where they could find your amazing work at?
Okay, yeah. So thank you so much, because this was very enjoyable for me. I'm so glad I got to meet you, because you're a huge, I feel like you're just a huge part of the doll community now, like just, educating people on the different, art forms and the artists out there. So I
Oh,
appreciate you for
well,
that.
thank you so much.
Yeah. And but you guys can find me on Etsy. That's my main platform for selling my dolls right now, and it's Evergreen Art Dolls. And then also Instagram and Facebook, so you can find me on both of those as well. So yeah, I think that's about. Oh, YouTube. I have a YouTube channel
Oh,
as well.
nice.
Evergreen Art Dolls. Yeah,
Okay, and
yeah,
everything is under Evergreen Art.
yeah. I think one of them, I'd be Evalina Evergreen on my
Okay.
Etsy, actually, but that's it. But most of everything you can like type in Evergreen Art Dolls, and more than likely you'd be able to find me. So
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much, Evelina, for joining us today. I mean, I really, again, like I said, I really love your work, and I'm so excited to see you go into a new medium at some point, and what you're going to create out of that too. So that's going to be very exciting. So I hope you guys stick around and join us so you can see what else she's doing, and maybe we'll have her back on the show when she starts doing some BJD dolls. That would be amazing to see what kind of work she's going to produce on
Yeah.
that. So again, thank you so much for being on the doll world with me.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.